I think I'll start and people can join in and, we'll take it on from there onwards then.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first, do this spotlight thing. All right. Um, so I have my virtual, not really virtual, I have my physical cup of tea with me. We are here for a chat over chai session. A word about this session. This initiative was taken a couple of years back, University of Lahore में, under the patronage of Mr. Vaishrav, जो हमारे यूनिवर्सिटी के चेयरमैन हैं, बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नर्स के. And we thought that students from various departments should join us and we should talk about something other than studies and academics because life happens outside books, outside university. And we wanted to, bring in people जिनके साथ वो interact करें, इनसे उनको inspiration मिले, कुछ motivation मिले, and वो कुछ learn करें और हम भी कुछ learn करें. So we wanted to give this flavor to the students. We did that for a couple of months, but then now we are reviving this virtual chat over chai session. And this is our first session. And so your first guest. So today it's an absolute privilege to be hosting this session with Azam Jamil, who is so many things. He is a life coach, he's a corporate trainer, an aviator, a hotelier, been associated with service industry for so many decades. He's a chef, a musician, a philosopher, a loving husband, father, grandfather, and a friend. Have I covered it all, Azam?
Yeah, some that I'm not, but yes, you have.
Okay, all right. So I've known Azam for the past 2 decades, 21 years to be precise. As a young graduate with a master's in international relations, I was right out of Qaid Azam University. And my first job was in Serena Sales and Marketing Office in Rawalpindi, which I started in 1999. And Azam was the dawn of the sales and marketing world in Serena at the time. I have very fond memories of my 1.5 years जो मैंने वहाँ पे गुजारे रावलपिंडी में, and I learned a lot. I got introduced to the best tikka and kebabs from Bao Mohalla in Rawalpindi, because whenever Azam would visit our office, the sales managers would scramble to get his favorite food and we all would fall in line. He was a very tough boss, very principled, but a thorough professional. So thank you, Azam, for all my initial disciplinary training, I received from you,
You're
working
very
with you,
welcome.
looking at how you worked. Then I left for the US to study further, and sales and marketing life was left much behind. Lost touch with Azam and reconnected with him in 2009, and have stayed in touch, tried to stay in touch ever since. So Azam, thank you so much for joining me. I know you've become a social media celebrity and your words of wisdom have gone viral, and for all the right reasons. Today, I'm not Dr. Rabia Akhtar. I am not head of the department. I am not going to talk nuclear. I'm just Rabs who wants to talk to you about the most important things in our lives. And those are relationships, the value of time, what is love, what does it matter to us. So we'll chat a bit and then we'll take some questions from our very eager students, जिनमें कई लोगों के दिल टूटे भी हुए हैं, so उनके सवाल भी आपके सामने आएंगे. So it will be a whole basket case of questions. So I hope you will have your sense of humor about you,
So
and
always.
it's about you. Yes. All right. So to begin with, I read somewhere, and this has stayed with me forever and probably has also become a guide for how I look at my relationships. And it goes like, love is the quality of attention that you pay to things. And love is both a shrine and an idol. Love is what we make of other people and what they make of us. So my first question to you is, let's start with the big L. What does love mean to you? How does one differentiate between love and infatuation? And what the heck is true love? This I'm asking for a friend. So
Oh.
over to you for kicking off the first question.
I would have rather discussed nuclear power in the world than love, but since you're insisting, first of all, I want to tell everybody who's listening is that I am really no authority on any subject. Okay, so whatever I say this afternoon is probably just an opinion, and some will agree with me, and some are most welcome to disagree with me. I'm no Danishwar. Rabia called me a philosopher. I'm anything but a philosopher, but uh, but I've had an interesting journey, and that journey has been motivated by pride, national pride. It's been motivated by ambition, perhaps fame, but the one thing it's never been motivated by is greed. Uh, that's not a part of my DNA. My entire life, I really have had no love for money, uh, and a lot of people hold that against me, and I have suffered a lot, and I continue to suffer for the absence of that love for money. But that's me. That's what I am. I've really not grown up. Only my toys have become more expensive. But so that's me. So love to me, I think transitions uh, as you grow through life. Love when you're 10 is a lot different than when you're 19. Um, the thing about love when I was 19, the only thing that I knew about love was that I was supposed to fall in love with everyone. And that's what you do at 19. Uh, every girl that you see, you're in love with. So um, as you grow older and then marriage time comes, uh, you feel that, okay, all that bakwas that took place in the 5 7 years now has come to a obvious conclusion, and this is it. And then you get married, and then as the marriage continues, you realize that, hey, this is there's something wrong in this also. So the answer, a simple answer to your very complex question is that I there cannot be a single definition of it. I think it will change. It will change. It changes with circumstance. It changes with time. The intensity changes. But the one thing that should never change is the honesty of it. Okay, even when you're 16 and you get infatuated by the first girl who's paid a little attention to you, I think there needs to be a little honesty in that too. So, and I, of course, you know that, but people don't know that. My parents got divorced when I was very young. So you feel the protection is severed and you don't have it anymore. And I, being the only child, had to literally survive on my own. So love became plan B, survival became plan A. And hence you see me doing, when you introduced me, I'm a commercial pilot, I'm a lead trainer, I've even acted in television serials, I'm a national sportsman. I've done a lot of things, okay? And I'm a musician. And the reason I've done all this is not because I'm talented. I think when I was young and because of this being alone, I had to find refuge somewhere, and I did. So yeah, uh, it's a lovely feeling. It doesn't have an expiry date. I hope that I love people and places, and when I'm 80, if I live to be that long, but it is transitional. I think it changes. I cannot tell your students, whoever's listening, that okay, if you do this. It means love. I suppose you can do that when you enrich uranium, but in love you can't do that. I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit.
Yes, and you brought in uranium. My okay, so one part of my question was, is there such a thing as true love? Because like you watch movies, you read stories, and they're full of this notion of one true love, as if there is just one thing one needs to find in life and then everything is going to be all right. What are your views about it? To me, love is different shapes, different
Yeah,
people, because you can't really get one thing from one person, so it doesn't exist in one true entity. What are your
I
views
agree.
on?
I agree 100%. I don't think there is any such thing as one true love. Maybe there was 100 years ago, but then it got extinct. It was an endangered species, and somebody got rid of it. As I've seen world, as I've grown up, I think it would be a little filmy or a little melodramatic to use this word one true love. I don't think there is. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule everywhere, and you'll find somebody raising their hand and said that no, what I have found is true love, and that person is not wrong. To that person, that is true love. So while you can describe that from your own experiences, I don't think you can be judgmental on it. I don't think you can pass a decision saying that, okay, it's this way or it's that way. Personally, I don't think there is.
All right, great. So my next question to you is, you give a lot of corporate trainings and you talk about success. You talk about successful employees, successful bosses, successful CEOs. What are the ingredients of a successful relationship? Is there one true parameter for it, or is it a mix of things? If one, those people who are starting their lives, entering into relationships, or even those who are within, sustaining long-term relationships, what is the ingredient for success, successful relationship? If I may
Are you
put it.
talking? Are you talking commercially or domestically?
Personal relationships, because you do a lot of commercial corporate trainings and you
Yeah,
talk about success there. Can you lift that and apply it to personal relationships and have some guide for?
absolutely, absolutely. Look, here's something I'm telling your students. Okay, uh, there is not a single instance in human history, not one, of individual success. Not one. You can go back 5,000 years and you will not find a single instance of individual success. You will find instances of individual glory. Okay? Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon. Okay? That's the glory. But did he do it all by himself? 40 scientists spent 2 years designing his spacesuit. And yet, you and I would not know the names of those scientists. They're not important people. But without them, nobody could have stepped on the moon. So, and you can take any example in the world. I mean, you talk of Sir Edmund Hillary as being the first man on the top of Everest, and everybody remembers Hillary's name. But very few people know that 358 people were in the expedition, and 358 people helped Hillary and Tenzing to summit Everest. So success is never alone, and success is always collective. Glory is individual. Now, if you believe that success is collective, then the next question is, why would people help you succeed? And your question was about success. So if I know that I can't succeed in my office without the people, my next obvious question should be, why should people help me succeed? मैं उनका क्या लगता हूं भाई? They get paid by the company. Why would they help me succeed? And the answer is very simple. The only reason they will help you succeed is if they like you. Simple. It's not complicated. So everyone needs to ask this question: do my people like me? They listen to you and they obey your orders, but they listen to you because they get paid to listen to you. They don't get they don't listen to you because they like you. उनको तनख्वाह मिलती है. So don't be in that kind of delusionary mindset. The honest question is, do they like you? And if they like you, then they will ensure that you get the glory. They will still help you succeed, but you will get the glory. But if they don't like you, what will they do? That's the next question. Okay, they can't slap you, right? You're their boss. And they can't be rude to you because they lose their job. So the only legal thing they can do to somebody they don't like is they will put the least amount of effort they need to do to keep their job. If if they need 40% to keep their job, they will not give you 41 because their motivation is not you. Their motivation is only to remain employed. So it's your call as a boss now that you want people to give you 60, 70%, or you want your people to give you 40%. They will give you 60 and 70% only if they like you. Otherwise, they'll give you 40 because that's what they need to remain employed. The other thing you need to understand about love is that love is an emotion, and emotions do not respond to command. What did I say? Emotions do not respond to command. I
Brilliant.
cannot, I cannot tell my subordinate, let's say my subordinate's name is Aisha. Aisha, from tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., you'll start loving me. It's the most stupid statement I could make, right? And she'll probably say, yes, sir. But you can't command it. Trust is an emotion. I can't say, Rabia, from tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, you need to start trusting me. Emotions respond to amal. Emotions respond to what you are. And what's the law of attraction, Rabia? The law of attraction is that throughout your life, domestically and professionally, you will not get what you want. You will get what you are. So a lot of these senior CEOs ask me that I want a director who has this quality and who has this quality. And my first question to the CEO is, I said, do you have these qualities? And he looks at me and he says, what? I said, the qualities you are demanding of this person, do you have them? Because you will only attract what you are. Because if you don't have these qualities and you get somebody with the qualities you don't have, what's going to happen? Over 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, there'll be a conflict. And that relationship will end, whether it's professional or whether it's. So your students need to understand that they will only get what they are, not what they want. So if a boy is wanting a girl who's understanding and who's loving and who's supportive, he needs to do his own JIT. He needs to sit home and says, okay, am I supportive? Am I understanding? Am I broad-minded? Am I tolerant? The only once you checklist your exam, then demand. Because if you're not that and you're seeking somebody with those qualities, that relationship is doomed for failure.
Absolutely, brilliantly put. So this takes me to my next question because obviously I think this. By the way, I have two Aishas in my department, and I hope
Oh God!
you
Apologies
couldn't.
to apologies to both of them.
So so I think, yeah, liking is an extremely important thing, because
Yeah,
if you don't like, nothing falls afterwards.
yeah,
So my third question to you is, you are into poetry and literature and you've read a lot. So one of my all-time favorites is Raja Gid by Banu Kutzya.
yeah.
And in that novel, there is a lot of philosophy in it, but I'll just pick on one of it, and that states that मोहब्बत का और शादी का आपस में कोई ताल्लुक नहीं.
you know,
And so, do you buy this argument? Is love a necessary precondition for marriage? We have seen love marriages fail. We've also seen equal amount of arranged marriages fail. So, what difference does love make? I would like
I
to
don't,
have your opinion on that.
I don't think love marriages have any edge over any kind of marriage. You
Okay.
know, for God's sake, kids are getting online. You know, they're liking each other online now. Now, when you like somebody online, what's the difference between that and an arranged marriage? This is also an arranged marriage. Somebody sitting on a computer screen 2,000 miles away and you decide to get married, it's arranged. And so I don't think love is a prerequisite. What I think is what I told you 5 minutes ago. I think it's the compatibility of personalities. That is what sustains it, not love. And also, uh, how long does that original love last? It's like, who said that I am not allowed my education, my schooling to interfere in my education, right? It's the same thing. You can't allow love to interfere in your relationship. Your relationship is not love dependent. Love is like prema milk, it will expire. It's like these kids are getting degrees. Uh, I hate to break it to them, but in a few years, their degrees will expire. Um, I lost my degree 27 years ago. And when I apply, not I don't apply for jobs now, I'm too old for that. But if anybody gives me a very senior position, they don't ask for my degree, they ask for my ECG. And they say, कि यार, hepatitis C का test ले आओ, chest
Yeah.
X-ray ले आओ. And I ask them, कोई degree भी मांग लो भाई. Not that I have it. So a time comes that your degree loses value and you have to replace it. And this is what I teach the youth. Okay, you have to replace education with knowledge. And that is where our youth is really struggling. They have not been able to distinguish between education and knowledge. And they are too education dependent. वो एजुकेशन तो 5-6 साल के बाद किसी ने पूछना नहीं है. if you go if you go for a job interview 10 years after you graduate, do you think anybody is going to ask how many numbers you got in economics or maths or whatever? Nobody asks, nobody cares. So you have to replace your value of education with your value for knowledge. And that's where our youth is failing. And when I come to University of Lahore, you get all these kids together and I'll tell them how to move forward as they go in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a must. My next question to you is about time. There's this old saying कि अगर आप वक्त की कदर नहीं करेंगे तो वक्त भी आपकी कदर नहीं करेगा. What's the truth in it? Do you think this generation आप उसके साथ काफी deal करते हैं? Designer watches तो पहन लेते हैं, but do they really value time? And what is it that one needs to do? To help this generation realize what worth time is.
Dekho, uh, before you start to appreciate time, Rabia, you need to get your value set intact. The respect for time is a part of your value system. It's like honesty is a part of your value system. Our students today, they hate if you ask them that, are you a thief? And all of them are going to say no. And then you ask them that, okay, you don't steal money, but why do you steal software? Because they do steal software. And they've made themselves believe that stealing software is fine. It's only stealing money which is wrong. So what's the difference? The difference is that the value system is corrupted. A lot of times, not a lot of times, almost all the time, I find adults, even managers, not coming on time to sessions. And because somebody thinks that 5 minutes is okay. And somebody thinks 10 minutes is okay. And there are some who says, no, even 1 minute is not okay. I will come 1 minute before scheduled times. Now, they're all working for the same organization. They have different value sets. Now, if your boss says that the meeting is at 9 o'clock, I can promise you at 10 to 9 with gel shell laga ke or tie pehn ke, you'll be standing outside his office. But if mom says, beta mujhe sham ko bazaar le jana, so even if you are 45 minutes late, it's okay, right? It's only mom, right? Mom doesn't have a personal file. Mom can't give you a warning letter. So what's the difference between boss and mom when it comes to punctuality? There's no difference. It's only your value set that's different. Now, time is one thing these kids pretend they don't have. And you know why they don't have time? Because they don't have passion. Time is related to passion. I have been able to do all these things in my life, not because I had more time. My watch also had 24 hours in a day. But I managed to play tennis for Pakistan. I managed to, spend all night in a TV station trying to do a rehearsal for a serial I was acting in. And in the morning at 8:30, I was at work. I used to finish work and I used to go to the tennis courts for 4 hours of training before I went home. And I was dead tired when I was living in America, work all day. And then in the night, I used to get a call because I was flying for search and rescue. Somebody was in trouble and I had to fly at 2 o'clock in the morning to save that person's life. Now, and then I came back. I come back from work even now at my age with a quadruple bypass surgery that I've had. I come now and I find time to sit on the keyboard and I play music. Now, why do I find time for all these things? Because I'm passionate about all these things. So students will never find time unless they find junoon. पहले पैशन तो जमा करो भाई. ये तो इमरान खान को वर्ल्ड कप उठाए देखते हैं. जब वो 9 साल की उम्र में एशियन कॉलेज में टेनिस कोर्ट पे बॉलिंग करता था ब्रेक में, वो नजर नहीं आता ना इनको. They want to lift the World Cup. And they don't want to do anything that precedes lifting the World Cup. So time is a net consequence of passion. Or passion की definition क्या है? A lot of people ask me this. Okay, passion की definition बहुत simple है. That the things that you don't get paid for, उनको कितना अच्छा करते हो.
Price tag नहीं है जिसमें.
हाँ, जिसपे प्राइस टैग नहीं है. मैं टेनिस खेला, मैं पाकिस्तान का नेशनल चैंपियन था. मैंने एक्टिंग की, मैं म्यूजिक बजाया. A lot of the music these kids here have my contribution in it. I've done everything and I've not been paid 1 rupee for it. Why? Because I had passion. And today, when people say share your profile, and I share my profile, they really think that all these are my professions. And they say, sir, आपका तो CV बड़ा confusing है. आपकी नौकरी क्या है? So a definition of passion is that when you do your hobby so well that people start considering your hobby as your profession, that is passion.
So it's about value system. You need to
Absolutely. Value system ठीक हो जाएगा तो टाइम भी ठीक हो जाएगा. टाइम के साथ और 10 चीजें ठीक हो जाएंगी. लेकिन पहले वैल्यू सेट तो ठीक करें भाई. प्रिंसिपल्स और वैल्यूज में बड़ा एक क्लियर फर्क है. प्रिंसिपल्स वाज नॉट इनका स्टूडेंट्स का काम प्रिंसिपल्स का नहीं था. वो तो बुजुर्ग बना गए, मजहब ने बना दिया. Their job is to add a value to that principle. And value को उर्दू में क्या कहते हैं? इकदार, कदर. कि उस प्रिंसिपल की कदर कितनी करते हो. And that's their test. Their test is not the principle. Principles they didn't make. They didn't say कि जी रेड लाइट पे खड़े हो जाओ और ग्रीन लाइट पे चलो. ये तो रूल किसी और ने बनाया है. इनकी वैल्यू क्या है? कि सुबह 10 बजे रेड लाइट पे खड़े होना है और रात के 3 बजे जब आ रहे होंगे स्टार बक्स से या ग्लोरिया जीन से तो फिर रेड लाइट पे नहीं रुकना.
True.
That's their value system. And so you don't realize that once you start corrupting your values, then there's no end to this, Rabia. And one of my biggest complaints about today's youth is that they don't know how to lose. And you know why they don't know how to lose? Because a majority of them have not played sport in school and college. Because sports जो है ना वो physical fitness के लिए नहीं खेलते. Physical fitness तो you can get in a gym. Sports you play because it teaches you how to lose. And our kids have forgotten how to lose. Now, what's the opposite of not knowing how to lose? The opposite of not knowing how to lose is winning at all cost. Now, that's a very, very dangerous thing. Because when you come into the world with this mindset that I have to win at all costs, God help you. And the reason they want to win at all costs is because they don't know how to lose. इन्होंने हारना सीखा ही नहीं है क्योंकि कभी हारे ही नहीं है. किस चीज में हारते हैं? एक गर्लफ्रेंड कहेगी ओके आई एम गोइंग टू सम अदर गाय तो ये हारना होगा या somebody ditches you ये हारना होगा. हारना तो होता है जब आप सारी जिंदगी एक स्पोर्ट्स को देते हो और you go into the cricket field and you lose. Today Imran has lost more matches than he's won. I, as Pakistan's national tennis champion, if you look at my tennis career, I have lost more than I have won. And today when I lose, and I lose in my domestic life, I lose in my married life, I lose with my kids, I lose with my office, I fall and I get up again. And what's taught me to get up again? Sports.
True, true. Excellent. Very, very rightly said. But I think somewhere, हमारी generation जो इनको पढ़ा रहे हैं या इस capacity में है, we are also responsible because if as teachers we come to our classes on time and we lead by example, these people, students will learn. Um,
Absolutely.
with this, I would move to my last question and then we'll move to Q&A. So I have a Naib Qasid in my department. He is just brilliant, very high IQ. And so the other day I was wishing him Jashn Azadi Mubarak. And so he says, Madam, मैं शादीशुदा इंसान की क्या आज़ादी होती है? So so I laughed and I asked him कि यार तुम्हारी शादी को अभी 4 साल हुए हैं तो क्या तुम्हारे में ऐसे अजाब कोई गिर गए हैं कि तुम आज़ादी की बात कर रहे हो? So he said something which was really funny and wise as well. So he said कि जो शादी होती है तो इतना बड़ा फंदा जिसमें अभी इतना गैप होता है आपकी गर्दन से इतना बड़ा फंदा डलता है और फिर आहिस्ता 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 करके ना चौथे साल तक वो यहाँ तक पहुंच जाता है. So
That's true.
that was a great example. So
Exactly.
so my question to you is that a lot of us feel suffocated in relationships at
Yeah,
one point
yeah,
or the other.
yeah,
We need
yeah.
our space. I hear so many people जो कि कहते हैं कि there's a debate कि जी स्पाउस के साथ आपको पासवर्ड शेयर करने चाहिए या सिग्निफिकेंट अदर्स के साथ करने चाहिए. And I say, क्यों करने चाहिए? Marriage does not mean or being in a relationship does not mean कि आप अपनी space, personal space lose कर जाएं. It's all about trust at the end of the day. So password share करने से या space intermingle करने से trust अगर नहीं है basic तो नहीं आएगा. So there are a lot of people who feel that they can't breathe. How does one deal with that? Do you have any, thoughts on this? This space issue and privacy issue within relationships as well.
Rabia, if I had the answer to your question, I would be the richest man in the world, even surpassing Bezos and Gates and all that crap. That I would have been the richest man in the world if I had the solution to this problem. And you're absolutely right. There is no question of sharing any passwords with anybody because sharing a password doesn't depict trust. It depicts mistrust.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm at least I'm not a proponent of that. The other thing is that I want to repeat once again that I'm no expert in domestic marital relationships. I can only speak of personal experience and what I've seen amongst friends and people that I know, and it's just my opinion. And nobody has to believe me, and nobody has to follow me, but it's my opinion. I think the space, again, like you asked me the first question, I think the space requirement, Rabia, transitions as you grow old. Uh, and as your marriage goes, the demands change, the requirement for space changes. When you have kids, your life changes. As they grow older, your space changes. And then don't forget that men, I even lecture this. I was at the Air Force and I was lecturing the Air Force officers, the pilots, and I was saying, देखो, तुम्हारी जिंदगी में तीन stages हैं, and that stage is youth, employment, retirement. But in your wife's life, there's a fourth stage, and that fourth stage is independence. And they said, what? I said, yes. And you know when that comes? Is when she, in the first 25 years of her marriage, she puts everything to the house, to the children, and then suddenly the children grow up and they get married and they go away. And that's the time that woman feels independent. And she says, okay, now my life starts. And most men are not ready to handle that independence because they've gotten so used to her doing things for other people that after 25 years when she demands attention herself and she says, okay, I've done my bit, I've raised the kids, I've looked after the house, I am a human being, and now I am independent, I am alone, get out of my way. And most men don't. And that's why a lot of times when you see late marriages self destructing, they self destruct for this reason because men do not appreciate the fourth stage in a woman's life, which they don't have, but
Yeah.
she has. So that's my comment on that.
Excellent. So with this, we'll let's open the floor. Please raise your hands so that I allow you to speak. Tahaver, why don't you go first?
Hello, how are you, sir? I hope you're
Hi,
doing well.
good, good.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I really enjoyed your when you said that love at a point comes when it expires, and there starts the compatibility thing.
Yeah,
So there is this problem which I'm facing these days. This is my own very personal experience.
okay,
Uh, puri life, the whole life you hear this thing that at some point you'll be allowed to choose a person to marry, right?
mhm,
You will be allowed to choose a person for yourself, and you can fall in love. You have full liberty on that, and
right,
you, at that time you say your parents that no, you choose someone for me,
okay,
and then they don't, and then a point comes when you choose someone, and then they find they come up with some lame excuses. And when there is compatibility, when there is everything, I really respect my parents, I respect all the parents. But there is this very misunderstanding in this thing which I faced, and I think other people of my age they also face this thing. You know, I'm sorry for the weird background because there is sabzi wala outside, and he's selling his vegetables. Uh,
That's right.
so, uh, so this is the problem which I face. So I
Okay,
want you
okay,
to
beta,
comment on it
okay,
and any suggestion for the parents too, please. Thank you.
sure.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Tahaver.
Thank you very much. Okay, welcome to planet Earth. Okay, uh, पेरेंट्स की जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन है कीड़े निकालना बेटा, ये हमारी जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन है. ये अगर हम कीड़े नहीं निकालेंगे तो और क्या करेंगे? हाउ विल वी show our importance? You know, if you work in a company, और तुम्हारा जब एनुअल अप्रेजल होता है, तुमने 10 अच्छी चीजें की होती हैं, व्हाट डज एचआर टेल यू कि यहाँ तुमने बहुत गड़बड़ की है, ये तुमने नवंबर के टारगेट्स नहीं मीट किए। ये कीड़ा निकालना जो है ये ह्यूमन साइकी है, इससे परेशान नहीं होना, ओके। एंड अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स इट्स इरिटेटिंग बिकॉज you've made a choice or you think you've made the right choice, and somebody that you expect to support you is suddenly saying कि ये ठीक नहीं है, वो ठीक नहीं है. Don't despair, don't distress on this. They're doing what they do best, okay. They need to वो if you, I don't know, you haven't probably worked, you're still a student, but if you go to the government of Pakistan, किसी मिनिस्ट्री में चले जाओ ना अपना केस लेके, what is the first thing that guy tells you? ये नहीं हो सकता. That's the first thing he says. Okay, without even, he'll just open your file and he'll say नहीं हो सकता. Because what's he doing? He is establishing his importance. Because the minute he says कि आपका काम तो 5 मिनट में मैं कर दूंगा, what is the first thing you will do? You will not pay him any attention. So he has to get importance from you. You know, it's like to feel wanted or to feel significant. Now, when you want to feel significant, you need to do something, and that brings me to another subject. This is now a need of you guys कि you want to feel significant कि यार मैं कुछ हूं. तुम्हारा बेड़ा गर्क किया है सोशल मीडिया ने. सोशल मीडिया पे अब तुम्हारी खाला की बेटी तुम्हें पसंद नहीं करती. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके पास 400 लड़का है जो सोशल मीडिया पे देख रही है, जो हाई अचीवर्स हैं. किसी ने ये किया, किसी के 2000 लाइक्स हैं, किसी के 4000 लाइक्स हैं, एंड हियर्स द लूजर फर्स्ट कजन हुज डन नथिंग. हमारे जमाने में तो सोशल मीडिया नहीं था, तो जो फूफी खाला की बेटी होती थी ना उसके पास चॉइस थी ना तुम्हारे पास चॉइस थी. आज तो वो अपना लैपटॉप खोलती है या फोन खोलती है तो लाइन लग जाती है. सो यू पीपल हैव अ बिगर चैलेंज. you need to make yourself more worthy. हमारे में ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं था, आज तुम्हें ये प्रॉब्लम है, and that's the price you pay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you are competing with 20 other guys, then you beat them, then you become better. But don't worry about parents doing chick big. Parents chick big ना करें तो वो और क्या करें? ये हमारी job description. Don't worry about that.
Thank you, Azam. Mariam, you can ask.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, the conversation is going really good, sir. Assalamu alaikum. I have a question which I want to ask, which is regarding luck and hard work. Like, I personally do not believe in luck. So I really want to know that हमारी सोसाइटी में हमने एक concept build किया हुआ है, like they are the lucky ones, ठीक है, for some specific people. So what is hard work? Like, I really want to know your views regarding the difference between the lucky ones and what is hard work in your point of view.
Thank you.
Beta.
Azam, can we collect a couple of questions? Otherwise,
sure.
Let me make a note of them in case you forget.
Yeah.
So this was Mariam asking about luck and hard work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mariam. All right, Haris.
Assalamu alaikum to both of you.
Walaikum salam.
And a big thanks to Dr. Rabia for arranging such a great debate on a crucial topic, which is more crucial than nuclear studies.
Absolutely.
ये राबिया मुझे मरवाएगी.
So first, I would like to answer Dr. Rabia's question, and then I'll ask a question to Sir about true love. When you ask about true love, so my opinion about true love is that we in our life, an individual is in different relationships at the same time. We are stuck in every place and trying to understand everyone. And with that, life finishes. We didn't understand, like, वो करते अंडरस्टैंड करते करते हम किसी को भी समझ नहीं पाते. तो इसलिए मेरे ख्याल से ट्रू लव इसलिए नहीं है कि हम कंफ्यूज होते हैं सारे रिलेशंस को एक ही टाइम पे अंडरस्टैंड करने में, तो वो ट्रू लव हमें मतलब नहीं मिलता.
Okay.
तो इसलिए ट्रू लव नहीं है. Acha, now the question is that I've been in a relationship, and the best part I find in a relationship, not in love, in a relationship, is the struggle to understand each other and, of course, oneself. And so, my question to you is that what is the best part of a relationship, in your opinion, other than taking refuge? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. First of all, when you talk of relationships, a lot of people use the word compromise. Okay. To me, compromise is a bad word. It's a negative word. And a lot of people take the word compromise as a positive word. And let me explain to you why compromise is not a good word. Supposing I have 100 rupees and I need to buy something from Dr. Rabia. So when I go to buy that thing from her, Dr. Rabia says that no, I can't sell it uh, for 100 rupees. I'll sell it for 120. And then I tell her I can't afford that. So after a lot of struggle, we arrive at a price of 110. And people say कि जी compromise हो गया, दोनों का फायदा हो गया, दोनों का नुकसान हुआ है. I was wanting to spend 100 rupees and I spent 10 rupees extra. Rabia was hoping to earn 120 rupees and she earned 10 rupees less. So in a compromise, both people lose. Okay, so do not think as compromise as a positive thing. What is a positive thing is synergy, and that is that you use each other's strengths to move forward. So in a relationship, like I said, that it is again evolving. It's transitional. You need to understand each other. The space that you give today may not be relevant tomorrow. My wife was diagnosed with second degree invasive cancer 6 years ago. So, what happened? The first thing that happened was that her personality changed. And my friend, who was the head of the Aga Khan psychiatric division, he called me and said, Azam, you have a new wife now. Deal with it. You can't, and do not compare her with the old wife. Because ये कैंसर बीमारी ऐसी है, she will use words that she's never used before. She will like food that she's never liked before. And things will change. Now, the worst thing you can do as a husband is that start comparing her. कि रुको तुम तो पहले ये नहीं करती थी, तुम तो पहले भिंडी नहीं खाती थी, तुम तो पहले वो नहीं करती थी. That wife is gone. And he told that to my kids also, that you have now a new mother. So this is because of a very serious illness. But even if there's no illness, don't forget that humans change. They change as they go along. Am I the same today what I was 5 years ago? Of course not. And I shouldn't be. Was I the same today when I was 10 years ago? I'm not. Was my wife the same what she was 10 years ago? Not. So if we start our understanding package of 20 years ago, it will not work today. Why is PIA not working? PIA has a very, very high load factor. It's not working because it's a 1970s airline trying to run in 2020. PIA should have transitioned and changed 10 times over. Why are other airlines successful? Because they've changed. PIA is still a 1970s airline. PTDC is still a 1970s company. Pakistan Steel Mills is operating in the 70s because we are aversive to change. And if you don't change, then you pay a very heavy price commercially and you pay a very heavy price domestically.
So you adapt.
Absolutely.
So your question, Mariam's question about luck and hard work.
मरियम, आई हेट दिस वर्ड. मैं तो जब लेक्चर भी करता हूं ना, तो मैं लोगों को कहता हूं कि आज के बाद खुदा के लिए ये लफ्ज इस्तेमाल ना करो कि सर आप तो बड़े लकी हैं. और मैं जुआ खेल रहा हूं. लकी किस बात का हूं? एंड यू नो व्हाई यू यूज द वर्ड लक? लक इसलिए यूज करते हो कि अपनी अकाउंटेबिलिटी खत्म हो जाती है. That's the perfect way to avoid your own accountability. Do you remember the time when mother used to say, वो क्यों फर्स्ट आई है, तुम क्यों फोर्थ आई हो? अम्मी, वो टीचर की फेवरेट है. Did you ever tell your mother कि वो मेहनत ज्यादा करती है? कभी कहा है? अगर कह के तो देखो, फिर थप्पड़ आता ना. So the reason you use luck is you don't want to appreciate the other person's effort. And why don't you want to appreciate the other person's effort? Because the minute you appreciate the other person's effort, तो तुम्हारे पे सवाल आता है कि तुमने एफर्ट क्यों नहीं किया, तुम अपने आप को एक्सपोज कर देते हो. आजम जमील म्यूजिक क्यों अच्छा बजाता है? जी लकी है. आजम जमील तो 40 साल से म्यूजिक में मेहनत कर रहा है. तुम करो तो यूल प्ले इट. आजम जमील टेनिस खेलता था 6 घंटे दिन की, तुम खेलो, तुम नेशनल चैंपियन बन जाओगे. तो लकी का खुदा के लिए लफ्ज निकाल दो, बिकॉज इट्स अ वर्ड टू अवॉइड अकाउंटेबिलिटी. बिकम अकाउंटेबल when you recognize the talent of some other person. You know, ऊंची आवाज में कहो कि that person did well in university because he worked hard. And yes, people will say, why didn't you work hard? Accept the fact that you didn't. But lucky will just help you momentarily. और लक क्या जी, उसके नसीब अच्छे हैं. जब किस्मत में डाल दिया तो अपनी जान छुट गई ना.
Absolutely.
तो अपनी जान नहीं छुड़ानी.
Thank you,
So
Azam.
please,
Right.
sorry.
No, that's fine. We'll move to other questions. So this order, Ali Raza, Azka, and then Ali Jafri, and then Maimuna. So we'll take 4 questions in a row. Ali Raza.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम सर.
वालेकुम सलाम.
सबसे पहले तो मैम राबिया को शुक्रिया कि उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा एक डिफरेंट एक वेबिनार करवाया. मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि आजकल हम देखते हैं तो हमारे हम जो नौजवान हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब बगैर किसी वजह के उदास रहते हैं. वजह कोई नहीं है लेकिन उदासी है. और एक मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि जैसा कहते हैं कि मोहब्बत का हासिल होने से ताल्लुक नहीं है, लेकिन फिर क्यों पूरी जिंदगी उस बात का पछतावा रहता है कि हम उसे पा नहीं सके.
All right, that's good. And probably we'll make sense of unrequited love here. Okay, thank you, Ali Raza. Aska? Aska, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. So, basically, people are supposed to be compassionate. They're supposed to be emphatic and have sympathy towards a woman when she enters her independence, the state of independence. And usually, we see that most of this actually results in domestic abuse and other horrible things, because we as a society don't have enough compassion. We are not taught how to be open-minded, to let a person do what they want to do and understand that they are a human as well. They have free will. So we people over here right now, they belong to a somewhat privileged background because they are able to have access to different platforms from where they can get different sorts of experience. They are exposed to different sorts of experience. So how do you think कि एक लेमैन को हम किस तरह समझाएं कि उसने ये नहीं करना और किस तरह वो बेहतर कर सकते हैं as a person कि he doesn't end up abusing his wife or something like that.
Thank you, Aska. Thank you so much. We have Maimuna Asif.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
Sir, I have a question. Being a student of IR, सर अक्सर यही सुना है कि हमेशा इंसान को इमोशन से काम नहीं लेना चाहिए, या फिर हम ये सुनते आए कि अगर हमेशा ऐसी इमोशंस का ही शिकार रहोगे या हर चीज में इमोशंस को लेकर आओगे तो आप कभी कामयाब नहीं हो सकते. तो क्या सोसाइटी जो हमें सिखाती है वो ये सिखाती है कि हम इमोशंस को छोड़कर एक सर्द मिजाज इंसान बन जाएं तो हम एक कामयाब इंसान हो जाएंगे? लाइक हमें हर चीज की लॉजिक तो नहीं होती सर. और क्यों सोसाइटी हमसे ये डिमांड करती है, या प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में जब हम आते हैं हमसे क्यों डिमांड किया जाता है?
I hope you're noting all these down.
Yes, I am.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
सर
Thank
हमसे
जी
कैन आई
मैम
कंटिन्यू?
जी प्लीज क्विकली.
सर हमसे क्यों ये डिमांड किया जाता है कि जब हम प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में आ गए तो हम अपने इमोशंस को छोड़ दें? कुछ फैसले सिर्फ दिमाग से करने वाले तो नहीं होते ना, कुछ दिल से भी करने वाले होते हैं। और क्या जब हम प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में आ गए तो वहाँ इमोशंस को हम घर छोड़ के आए?
All right. Thank you, Maimuna. Ali Jafri.
Assalamu alaikum. It's good to hear from you, sir, once again.
Ali, how are
Uh,
you?
as someone who is dealing with the aftermaths of unrequited love, I have come to the conclusion that there's always a tiff between respecting the feelings of the other person and also fighting with your own self as to whether you are letting it go, whether you are giving up so early, and we are afflicted with this caste syndrome. Cash mein ye kar leta. I could have given it the full throttle. Although I personally believe that the respect element has to be there in more prominence as compared to the caste syndrome. But obviously, there comes a point in time when your deterrence fails, and you are forced to think along those lines. So, had you been in my place, let me put it that way, how would you have dealt with unrequited love? Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. So we'll just take last three questions, Azam.
So should I start answering them?
No, just let me take
Okay,
last three questions because
okay,
then we'll
okay,
just finish the
okay,
Q&A
okay,
round.
okay.
Dr. Shehzad, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Rabia, for providing me with this opportunity. Or thank you, sir, Azam Jamil sir, for this wonderful insight. Sir,
You're
मेरा
very
एक
welcome.
simple सा question है कि you enjoy a very good relationship with someone for a very long period of time, and at some point of time, if someone like कोई इतना मतलब वो बोंगी मारता है या इस तरह का कुछ करता है कि you really get upset and deeply upset, rather deeply shocked. So my question is how to deal with this kind of situation. Like आपको वो जो आपने एक बड़ा स्टेबल पीरियड गुजारा है, बड़ा एक अच्छा पीरियड गुजारा है, उसको देखेंगे या आप उस इवेंट को देखेंगे जिसने आपको डीपली शॉक्ड किया है? तो इट्स अ क्वाइट आई थिंक ट्रिकी एंड डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन एंड आई डोंट नो. Thank you. Thanks again.
Okay. Good question, Doctor. Thank you. Thank you so much. Fatima?
Hello, Assalamualaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
Sir, I'm a frequent follower of you on Twitter.
Oh my God, poor you.
No, I enjoy your tweets very much. So, sir, my question is, how you differentiate between what you actually want from your life and what actually society tells you that you should do it. Like how to deal with the expectations of the society including your parents and everyone that you should do it when you actually don't want to do it or you just can't do it these things. And they have set the milestones like graduation ke baad you should have to go for an engagement or shadi or something, whereas you don't want to do it. So what do you think, how to avoid these type of chapters to come in your life?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Fatima. Okay, so absolute last question, Zainab.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Hope you are
Walaikum
well.
salam.
Sir, I will provide context for my question first. That first of all, idea of love for me in my life, from myself, extends towards places, people, things, my pets, institutions. And one of the courses I teach as a lecturer is critical thinking. So my question is that can we be critical in love towards any place, people, or thing we love? Because I know nobody is perfect and criticism should be constructive, but nobody likes criticism, in my opinion. So should we turn blind eye to flaws of anything we love, or can we be critical in love? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Wow, that's a full spectrum of questions for you, Azam. Uh, so,
Sure.
I will like club them. There are two questions on unrequited love, that how to deal with it, because self-respect is also involved, and how to get over that. And so why don't you take that first, and I'll take you through the rest of them then.
Yeah, my answer to that is a purely personal one, and that is that I think you have to go by your gut feel. There's no formula, there's no manual, there's no user's manual, there's no SOP on this. I think you need to go by gut feel. A lot of times, I mean, it's very easy for me to sit here and say it. I'm 100 years older than all of you guys. But nevertheless, I think eventually it has to be a gut call. It's what you feel inside. And if it's not there, it's not there. It's as simple as that. And that will not even only come in love. In your lives, as you grow older, a lot of things you will lose. They'll come and you'll lose them, and some are worth pursuing, and some you have to sit back and say goodbye. I don't think I have a real accurate answer for this. It depends on your personality. I've been let down, pre-marriage. I've been let down. I don't know how many times, and I dealt with it differently. But my advantage was at that time, my students, is that I was doing too many things in my life. I was a professional tennis player. I was a professional musician. I was in acting. तो जब मुझे एक जनानी लात मारती थी ना, तो मैं कहता था अच्छा ठीक है, मैं म्यूजिक बजाता हूँ, or I'm going to play tennis. So when you have other things to do, the process becomes slightly easier. But if
Energy
you're
भी dissipate हो जाती है ना.
exactly, you just focus elsewhere, and that's why I always say, okay, you must have multiple interests in your life. And all the students listening today, you know, need to answer this question for me. That if I was to ask them, what in your life have you done that you're really proud of? And I don't want to talk about academics, other than academics. I don't know. I don't care how many A's you got or how many B's you got. But tell me, if 50 years from now, if you were to put your grandchild on your lap, what would you tell him or her? If I put my grandson on my lap, I can speak for 3 days of what his grandfather has done. Okay? So enrich your lives. Start doing other stuff. And that will help you in a lot of disappointments. Because disappointments to aani hai. Hello, welcome. You're not shoving them away. And they will come, till what time? Till 4 people carry you on the shoulder and say, Kalmai Shahadat.
Absolutely.
That's when they'll stop. And so the more your life is enriched and fulfilled by other stuff, the better you deal with your disappointments. The less you have to do elsewhere, the more the disappointments affect your heart and affect your mind.
Excellent.
Is
So
that
find focus. That's a fair answer.
Okay, thank
So probably you can also tie in Zainab's question of being, she teaches critical thinking, and she's asking, can one be critical of the loved ones? Of course.
Absolutely, Zainab. Definitely, 100%.
100%.
Not being critical of loved ones, you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
If you ask my wife today, what is it that you don't like in Azam? You know what she'll say? She'll say volume 1 or volume 2. Okay? Because books can be written on what she doesn't like about me. But we've been married 38 years. So the criticism is a part of your life. People who are married for 40 years have not been happy for 40 years. They've just handled their sorrow well. That's the difference. Understand that marriages that go on forever doesn't mean that they are the happiest people on the planet. They've had their share of sorrow and grief. They've just handled it well. So please be critical, okay? Okay, be critical, but don't be offensive. Don't be humiliating. There's a big difference between criticizing somebody and humiliating somebody, okay? One is acceptable, the other is not. The same is true in offices. Your bosses have a right to criticize you. Nobody has a right to humiliate you.
Excellent. So we had a question from Aska, who taking cue from your point about the fourth stage in a woman's life, independence, and she said that इस प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू तो वो लोग सुन रहे हैं आपको जो सुन रहे हैं, बट एक ले पर्सन को आप ये किस तरह से समझा सकते हैं ताकि वो इंडिपेंडेंस जो है वो डोमेस्टिक अब्यूज में ना बदल जाए, मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग्स ना क्रिएट. हाउ डू यू डील विद दैट?
Who asked this question?
Aska.
Aska, beta, ये जो abuse है ना, this is not dependent on any stage in a woman's life. वो जो जिस stage की मैं बात कर रहा था, वो I was only talking because men are not expecting that stage to come. Men are not ready for that stage. The abuse doesn't happen because of that stage. If a man is abusive, he will be abusive in earlier stages also. ये तो बदनसीबी है उस शख्स की जो औरत पे हाथ उठाता है. और but he by nature is violent. He by nature is unethical. So he doesn't need, people who abuse women really don't need an excuse. They really don't. They can come home and start abusing a woman based on the color of a lipstick, because that's what they are. But what I was talking about the fourth stage is कि ये एक स्टेज मर्दों को रियलाइज करनी चाहिए कि माँ का एक वक्त आएगा जब माँ फारग हो जाएगी अपनी जिम्मेदारियों से. And that's the first time in her life that she will have time for herself. Before that, when she gets married, वलीमे के दूसरे दिन ससुराल पीछे पड़ जाता है, उसके बाद खावन पीछे पड़ जाता है, फिर बच्चे हो जाते हैं, फिर सारी जिंदगी बच्चों को होमवर्क कराओ और फलाना करो. This independence, when she's free of all her responsibilities, is the first time in her entire life after marriage is that she's got space and she wants attention. She says, okay, I have a life too. Please, somebody recognize me, because I have given myself to everybody for the last 25 years. Now it's my turn. And a lot of men expect her to continue the way she has continued in the last 25 years. That's the disaster.
Excellent. So Azam, moving on to Memuna Arif's question, who said कि सारी चीजें जो हैं वो लॉजिक से तो हल नहीं हो सकती, तो when you grow up, why is there an expectation कि emotions को घर छोड़ कर आए?
मेमुना, तुम्हें पता है मैं इस वक्त कहाँ बैठा हूँ? मैं फैज अहमद फैज साहब के घर बैठा हुआ हूँ. Right now, I am sitting in Faiz Saab's house, and you know why I'm sitting here? Because our family friendship goes back generations. And Sigmund Freud once said, who was a very, very famous psychiatrist or a therapist, he said, every mind I go into, I find that a poet has already been there.
Beautiful.
कि मैं जिस दिमाग में घुसता हूं, उस दिमाग में कोई ना कोई शायर कम वक्त पहले मेरे से पहले घुसा होता है. तो खुदा के लिए रिमेन ह्यूमन, और ह्यूमन का मतलब है कि तुम अपनी करनी कर गुजरो, जो होगा देखा जाएगा. ये and this doesn't mean that you become a malang and you कल को तुम साईं साईं अल्लाहू अल्लाहू गाना शुरू कर दो. It means that your life has to be a balance. If I didn't have emotion, and if I didn't make emotional decisions, I would really pray to Allah that He takes me today. मैंने सारी जिंदगी लॉजिकल डिसीजंस भी लिए, मैं बड़े बड़े ओहदों पे रहा हूं, और मैंने सारी जिंदगी बोंगियां भी मारी हैं. ये राबिया ने मेरी तारीफ की है ना, और कि मैं ये हूं, राबिया को कहना कि एक दफा मेरा सेशन करे तुम लोगों के साथ, मेरे फेलियर्स के साथ 3 एपिसोड्स चाहिए होंगे ऑफ माय फेलियर्स, बिकॉज यू कैन नॉट सक्सीड अनलेस यू फेल, एंड आई एम प्राउड ऑफ माय फेलियर्स। और तुम लोगों ने अगर कुछ सीखना है ना, तो डू नॉट लिसन टू सक्सेस स्टोरीज, listen to failure stories. That's
Brilliant.
where you will learn.
Absolutely. We had this one question from Dr. Shazad. You work with somebody for a long time and you get to know them in a certain capacity, but then something happens that changes your perception about them. So how do you deal
Yes.
with that?
Okay. Shazad, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon anywhere. तुम्हारी एक दोस्ती चल रही होती है, रिलेशनशिप चल रही होती है, एंड देन यू रियलाइज कि यार इस बंदे ने बहुत बड़ी बोंगी मार दी, गलती कर दी। यार देखो शहजाद, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वी आर ऑल ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, ओके? वी आर ऑल ह्यूमन एंड वी विल स्क्रू अप, पीरियड, कहानी खत्म है। कोई माँ का लाल मेरे सामने आज खड़ा हो जाए और कहे यार मैंने कोई गलती नहीं की या मैंने कोई बोंगी नहीं मारी। You know, I was the Prime Minister's class fellow from class 4. And I've seen this man, passionate man, succeed. I've seen him fail also. तुम लोगों ने उसके फेलियर नहीं देखे ना, तुम लोगों ने वर्ल्ड कप देखा है। So the question is that people are people. They will. Today in my own home, my children, who are no longer children, they can't be defined as children. The youngest is about 27 years old, but even they would say something that I would, find it very, very strange. कि ये क्या कह गया या कह गई है, but that's okay. Do not despair. Do not destroy relationships because एक बोंगी किसी ने मार दी है। हाँ, अब bongies की भी definition होती है ना। There are certain bongies that destroy trust, they destroy faith, they destroy everything. Then that's a different matter. But if it's a bongi जो दर गुजर करने वाली है, तो कर दो यार, इसमें कौन सी बड़ी बात है।
Excellent. Last question from Fatma. Society's expectations, parents' expectations कि बस अभी एक milestone हो गया है तो बस अब दूसरे की तरफ जाना है, शादी होनी है, अभी बच्चे होने हैं. So how do youngsters deal with these expectations from parents?
हाय बेटा अपने पेरेंट्स को, एक तो अपने पेरेंट्स को मेरे हवाले कर दो, एक तो मैं ये कह सकता हूँ, ठीक है? इन सबको जमा करो, ये यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ लाहौर में सबको बुला लो और मेरे हवाले कर दो।
सेशन भी होना चाहिए आपके साथ।
आई स्वेयर राबिया, इन सब के पेरेंट्स को बुलाओ और मेरे हवाले कर दो, मैं ऐसी चित्रौल करूंगा, याद करेंगे, ठीक है? अच्छा, दूसरी बात, हाँ, दूसरी बात ये है बेटा कि ये दैट्स व्हाई दे आर कॉल्ड पेरेंट्स। हमारा काम है ये मुसीबतें डालना। मुझे बताओ कौन, मैं तुम मेरे से घंटे से मेरी बातें सुन रही हो और तुम कह रही हो यार ये देखो कितना पढ़ा लिखा आदमी है, कितना इंटेलिजेंट आदमी है, कितना सक्सेसफुल आदमी है। मेरे बच्चों से जरा पूछो ना, एग्जैक्टली यही हो रहा था। ओह अब तुमने मास्टर्स कर लिया है, अब मेरा ख्याल है तुम सेटल डाउन कर दो, अब फलाना कर दो, अब ये कर दो। यार ये हम लोग हैं ही ऐसे। और एंड समटाइम्स वी आर इरिटेटिंग एंड वी आर वेरी इरिटेटिंग। तो उस पे मैं सिर्फ पेरेंट्स के बिहाफ पे ये कह सकता हूँ यार कि माफ कर दो। ये हमारा डीएनए कहता है कि अगर इस लड़की ने पढ़ाई कर ली है तो इसको अपने घर भेजो ताकि कोई पोता पोती हो, कोई आगे पीछे कोई रौनक मेला लगे। ये पेरेंट्स का एक इनबिल्ट डिजायर होता है, ठीक है? और खास तौर पे देसी पेरेंट तो मतलब है कि लड़की मैट्रिक में नहीं घुसती तो देसी पेरेंट अभी थोड़ी सी मेहंदी खरीदनी शुरू कर देता है। और माय वाइफ, व्हेन माय डॉटर्स वर 12-11, मैं अपनी वाइफ को कोई परफ्यूम ला के देता था ना, व्हेन आई वाज ट्रैवलिंग टू पेरिस, वो कहती थी ये मैं मानम के लिए रख लेती हूँ। एंड मानम वाज 12 years old। और मैंने कहा कोई खुदा का खौफ करो, और उस टाइम पे परफ्यूम बंद हो जाएंगे। बट दिस इज हाउ पेरेंट्स आर। सो इतना बुरा नहीं मानना। आई नो इट्स फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग, मुझे यहाँ कहना मेरे लिए आसान है, तुम लोग क्योंकि डील कर रहे हो तुम्हें मुश्किल है, बट मैं राबिया से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि एक पेरेंट्स का सेशन मेरे से करवा दें, ठीक है? उससे ये होगा कि या पेरेंट्स ठीक हो जाएंगे या मेरी मौत जल्दी वाक़या हो जाएगी। आई हैव लिव्ड माय लाइफ, कोई बात नहीं, तुम्हारे लिए ये भी कुर्बान है।
थैंक यू सो मच आज़म। आई थिंक ये बहुत ज़रूरी है पेरेंट्स का सेशन, बिकॉज हम जब एडमिशन भी करते हैं और फिर स्टूडेंट्स के इंटरव्यू करते हैं तो यही जवाब आते कि जी पेरेंट्स ने एफएससी में डाल दिया था लेकिन पढ़ाई में दिल नहीं लगा इसलिए नंबर नहीं आए, अब हमने सोशल साइंस पढ़नी है। तो सो आई थिंक बहुत ज़रूरी कंसल्टेशन। So I have a rapid fire, very quick rapid fire for you, and
Oh
I'll let
my
you go. I
God.
swear after that. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask you questions and just give me very short, brief answers, spontaneously what comes to your mind the first. Okay. All right. Your first love.
I can't, it's my principle, I can't name anybody, but I was 14.
Okay. Chocolate or caramel?
Chocolate.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
Absolutely. I fall in love at first sight all the time.
Great. Does age matter in a relationship?
Never.
Excellent. How important is humor in a relationship?
Without it, a relationship doesn't exist.
What does one do with a broken heart?
I don't know, Elfie, and move on.
Great. Do you believe in soulmates?
Absolutely.
What's the best piece of relationship advice you ever received?
Oh, you know from who? From Faisal, जिनके घर में बैठा हुआ हूँ. He once told me कि दो चीजों के साथ कभी सौदा नहीं करना, एक इल्म के साथ, दूसरा इश्क के साथ.
Beautiful, perfect. What is the most excellent?
This is not a transaction, okay? You do this first, बाद में नफा नुकसान होता है.
Absolutely. What is the most spontaneous thing you did recently?
I lost my job 2 days ago.
Okay, I cannot laugh about it. What are you afraid of?
Allah razik hai, Allah razik hai.
Allah razik. What are you afraid of?
Oh, everything. You know what I'm really afraid of? I'm afraid of, I may sound over patriotic, but I'm afraid of Pakistan getting worse than what it was 20 years ago. I just want this country to stabilize because I've invested a lot in this country. मेरे जिंदगी के मैंने 30 साल इस मुल्क को दिए. I can't see it hurt.
Fair enough. Is beauty skin deep? Should one find it in pancreas?
Beauty is, I would imagine. I don't think men should be falling for beauty alone. Okay? Because you know what happens? I've heard so many times today in questions the word compatibility. And, boys fall for looks and then they complain about compatibility. So यार फैसला कर लो ना, compatibility है या खूबसूरती है, पहले फैसला कर. और जब खूबसूरती के पीछे भागते हो तो फिर बाद में compatibility में रोना मत. In my times we wanted to marry the most beautiful girl in the city, and once we married her we didn't want anybody else to look at her. भाई अगर वो सोनी और खूबसूरत है तो दुनिया ने देखना है ना उसको. तो हाँ, शादी करने के लिए आप तेज हो, बस और कोई ना देखे. These things don't happen. So don't sort of हाँ, it's not scary. मतलब अगर देखो खूबसूरती अगर पैरामाउंट है तो करो खूबसूरती के लिए, लेकिन फिर बात कंपैटिबिलिटी के रोने मत रो. फिर कौन है जी मैंने सोनी लड़की से शादी की है, अगर इसका IQ 11 है तो so be it.
Brilliant. And next question is IQ or EQ?
Hi, EQ anytime.
Okay, great. A song that describes you?
Oh my God. Kal ho na ho.
Brilliant. If you had superpowers, what would that be?
Oh, if I had a what would it be?
Yeah. One superpower.
You know what I've really desired, because I'm a very good musician, I've always desired to have a very good singing voice, which I don't, sadly. So
That's
it's
not
not
a
a
super.
it's not a superpower. No? Superpower would be I would be able to fly.
Okay, that's good enough. So our next question is argument or silence? Do you argue or do you remain silent?
I think it's strategic. It's a bit of both.
Okay,
We've all learned to stand up and talk. I think we must learn to shut up and sit down also.
absolutely. What's your spirit animal?
My spirit animal?
Yeah.
I don't know. A pigeon.
Okay, well, that's pretty Sufi of you. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Do you think confessions make or break relationships?
Depends on the other person who you're confessing to.
Okay. Your own kids or grandkids?
Grandkids, anytime.
Okay. Can one be friends with one's ex?
Yes.
Can men and women be friends?
Yes.
So you don't agree with Harry met Sally's philosophy?
यार देखो, अगेन इट्स एन इंडिविजुअल थिंग. जिन जिन लड़कों ने कभी जिंदगी में कोई लड़की नहीं देखी, वो नहीं फ्रेंड हो सकते लड़की के साथ. ठीक है, वो तो पड़ जाएंगे उसको. ठीक है, लेकिन हाँ, सच्ची बात है. ठीक है, लेकिन जिन्होंने who have been exposed to women, कोई co-education school में, they've had a couple of relationships, those boys can be friends, right? But you take somebody who's never seen, like when we were in Pindi, you had never met any girl. It was not on in the late 60s. तो वो तो मैं कराची गया हूँ तो मुझे लड़कियां नजर आनी शुरू हुई ना, बिकॉज कराची वाज 20 years advanced than पिंडी तो गांव होता था. तो so I remember when we used to study in a college और वो माल रोड पे होता था, तो सुबह जब लड़कियां गुजरती थी ना गाड़ियों में, तो हमने लड़कियां बुक की होती थी कि ये मेरी है तो ये तेरी है, और हमने जिंदगी में वी डोंट नो ये कौन थी, लेकिन हमारी लड़की को कोई और देख जाए तो इधर से लड़ाई शुरू हो जाती थी. पता नहीं वो है कौन, वो वहां से सिर्फ अपने कॉलेज जा रही है, लेकिन हमने रिजर्व की होती थी. So this is the kind of youth we led now.
Excellent, excellent. With this, we come to the end of this excellent, Gupshup session. I think all of us needed it because we've been so busy with our academics, virtual teaching and then summer school. And this was such a refreshing break. And I cannot thank you enough for your time. We
Don't be
wish you all
silly.
the best. And next on my agenda is a session with the parents. I mean it. I will make this happen. It's absolutely needed.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions and for your presence. Thank you so much, Azam. Take care.
Bye.
Until
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you.